Welcome back to another episode of Musings from the Mountains. My name is Zach Anderson, joined alongside Keenan Cummings, and we come to you today after a backyard brawl win for West Virginia. Keenan, it was ugly, but it was a win that West Virginia needed, like you said. And what did you see Saturday, yesterday, because today is Sunday? And what did WVU do to get this one done, you think?
Well, I don't blame you for mixing it up. It seems like, long nights, early mornings for us. I was up till 4:40 this morning and got up at 8 to start doing Pro Football Focus stuff. So
Yeah.
the mix up is real, trust me. But yeah, that was a game West Virginia had to have for a lot of different reasons. I came into the game thinking that, maybe it was a bigger game for Neil Brown than it was West Virginia, which seems silly to say. And being in that atmosphere, seeing just how much people cared, I was wrong. That was a big game for West Virginia. Neil addressed it in his post-game press conference. It was big for the university, it was big for the team, it was big for the fans. West Virginia needed a game like that. The atmosphere was incredible. By far, not even close, the best atmosphere under Neil Brown. I thought that the Virginia Tech game was pretty good. It was not that. That was a different animal. It felt different in the air.
Mhm.
I thought that you mentioned winning ugly, and yeah, that's not going to be, aesthetically pleasing to a lot of people, but you don't care in a rivalry game. You just win.
Yeah.
I can't believe, like, at least give yourselves 24 hours to enjoy this one, guys. I've seen some posts on the Blue Lot already talking about West Virginia didn't look good enough or left some opportunities out there. And what you got to worry about what's next. Forget it for at least 24 hours. Please forget it. They often say in fantasy football, set it and forget it. And I think that that's kind of this, enjoy this game. You wait for these opportunities to play rivalry games that conference realignment is really taken away from West Virginia. You go in, you get your backup quarterback plays all but 5 snaps of this game, and you big boy your arch rival at home in front of 61,000 people. I mean, just enjoy it. No, it wasn't perfect. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was. There are a lot of issues moving forward. We'll get into a little bit later, what it looks like if Garrett Green can't play and Nico Markill's the guy. But West Virginia won this football game with 211 offensive yards. I went back to 1979. They had not won a game. They lost 25 or 27 in a row with 211 or less than yards. I
Wow.
actually am still trying to find the last time they won a game with that few of yards, but they played good defense, solid defense. Phil Jerkovich helped West Virginia with some poor throws and poor decisions, but they were able to get pressure on him all night. The defensive line won one-on-one battles. Linebackers played pretty well for the most part, and the secondary made some plays. So overall, we'll get into it more, but just on the surface, it was a game Neil Brown and West Virginia had to have, and it wasn't pretty, but they got it done.
Yeah, this game was huge for the state of West Virginia too, because like the state had been thinking about last year's game, of course, too, and how close that was at Pitt, and now you get to host your arch rival in Morgantown and you get it done. I think it's a sign of support for Neil Brown in a little bit of a way. Although, like we said, it wasn't a great win. It was a win, and that's what matters against your rival. So there were a lot of factors going against WVU in this game, I must say. Like the offense only having 211 yards, losing Garrett Green to injury, which is interesting because I thought Markiel played decent. Obviously, he was mostly just a game manager and handing the ball off, but he made some throws when he needed to. And it's going to be interesting to see how that progresses forward because I've talked to a couple of my friends and like people are like they want to see Nico play, like be the guy from now on. So it's different to see how the offense could change in that way. But if you can get a win and only have 211 yards of offense, your defense played extremely well. You can't beat that, especially against Pitt. So as the season goes on, it'll be interesting to see where the offense goes. The trajectory there, Keenan.
Yeah, I think the interesting part this week is going to be the health of Garrett Green. I think that
Hmm.
it's his job right now if he's healthy, but was wearing a boot, couldn't put weight on it. Neil said that, and that's a quick turnaround. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be Texas Tech before you know it. So I think the thing that we'll find out, they really limited playbook, with what they could do with Nico in this game. think Neil said they only had like 20%, half a sheet of paper, plays they felt comfortable with, getting all those reps in practice, only getting 20% of the reps throughout the week, that's hard to come in and play. So I think that if he is the guy, how the offense expands, they obviously need to throw the football more. They need more out of their wide receivers.
Mhm.
It's hard to be disappointed with what Cole Taylor's given you every game. I think he's been the most consistent pass catcher they've had. Kind of everything they wanted to get out of that tight end, pass catching tight end position so far. But they need more consistency out of the wide receivers. Um, they've run the football pretty well for the most part, but it'll be interesting to see, if Nico does start for, a game or two. Is there a controversy when Green's back? Does he
Mhm.
get Wally pipped? Is it his job when he returns? I'm getting ahead of myself because we don't even know if he's going to miss this coming week. But
Yeah.
ankle injuries are usually typically pretty rough, especially if they're high. It could be just
Mhm.
a typical one. So we'll see. But kicking back to Pitt a little bit, you know, the thing that kind of impressed me in this game is West Virginia didn't play perfect, but they won. And they won by doing some things that really hasn't been a staple of Neil Brown. They were tougher than Pitt. They were smarter than Pitt. They were more efficient than Pitt. And those are not three words that have been associated with the Neil Brown era.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it really does go back to what he told us, in fall camp and spring. This he wanted to get a more physical, tougher football team. They looked like it last night. They wanted to get smarter. This team, through 3 games, they're 2-1. They have not beaten themselves. They've taken care of the football for the most part, cut down on the procedural penalties and penalties that can be helped. Now, obviously, you don't want your guys taking off their helmet when they score a touchdown, but the emotion of the game, I can let that one go. I know Neil's not going to let that one go, but I can. But I think that those are the things I'm most encouraged by. Yes, there's concerns still with the offense. There's concerns with the defense. Yes, they played very well in the secondary. They deserve all the credit that they get for that performance. But Pitt only completed 8 passes, and there were some throws there that Jurgovich just, quite frankly, missed. And yes, the defensive line played well, got pressure, but they're going to play better quarterbacks moving forward. I would almost be hard pressed to say every quarterback they play moving forward will be better, and that starts next weekend against Texas Tech. So, did we find out some things about West Virginia in this game? Yeah, this is a tough football team that could close after not being able to close out Pitt a year ago. Do we still have questions? Absolutely.
Mhm.
In no way am I trying to tell you to hold a parade because West Virginia won this football game, but I am trying to tell you enjoy it
Yeah.
because wins over your rivals, that is what college football is supposed to be about. So at least take a little bit of time to enjoy this one.
Well, I'm going to be a little bit of a devil's advocate for the people on the blue lot because I did notice some execution issues, like especially in that. And Pitt had a drive going before Jerkovich threw that interception, and it was due to some lack of execution there late in the fourth quarter. And I thought maybe they would come down, cut it down to a one possession game, and potentially have a chance for an onside kick. But like the fumble on offense, a couple of really questionable play calling decisions. We've talked about this before, but just some things that make you a little worried about the offensive group and what they can do. So I think stuff like that. We've seen the physicality; it's there, and Neil has definitely backed up what he said in camp about wanting them to be more physical. I think you just have to be, especially against the Big 12 teams. I mean, Pitt played really bad last night. I'll be honest, they did, and Jurkovich kind of put them out of the game. But when you go and face off against other Big 12 teams, I don't think it's going to come that easy, like you said. So they're going to need to make sure the execution and the physicality are both there, in my opinion. But so let's talk about a little bit about Green too, because you said you wanted to touch on the injury. Uh, what do you think? What do you think is happening there moving forward with
Yeah, I
Green's
think it's
injury?
wait. Yeah, it's wait and see. I think we'll find out a lot more Monday. We're taping
Yeah.
this Sunday morning.
Hmm.
Feels like it's still Saturday night, but we're taping
It
this Sunday
does.
morning. Find out a lot in the coming days, and even if Neil's a little coy about it, we'll probably get a good idea of whether he has a real chance to go. So we'll see. But Texas Tech coming to Morgantown, 3:30 kick, finally not a night game. I
Yeah,
know all the
we're not
fans
going to
out
be at
there
the
are like, what are
stadium
you
until
talking about?
we're
Not a
not going to be
night
at the
game.
stadium
Well,
until past midnight this time, maybe.
yeah, it's a little different when you're covering the team. Yes, the
Yeah,
atmosphere was incredible. I was excited, but I didn't get home last night till 2:15. So yeah,
yeah,
long night. But yeah, it's hey, there's a lot worse things out there than covering college football, though. Don't get me twisted. I'm just, it's that time that you get on the grind and that's the way it goes. But Texas Tech 3:30, a golden opportunity for West Virginia. They have not won 3 games in a row with Neil Brown as the head coach. They win this game. I think it's safe to say they've changed the preseason narrative, at least through the first 4 games. So we'll see. I think it's a major game, major game. First Big 12 game.
Mhm.
West Virginia's 0-4 against Texas Tech under Neil Brown. It's time for West Virginia to get that monkey off their back. So we'll see. We'll preview it later this week. We'll have a guest from RedRaidersports.com, our affiliate with Texas Tech. They do great work. I recommend you check them out if you want to get some, insight prior to the game. But we'll have coverage wrapping up Pitt, looking into Texas Tech and a bunch of other stuff, recruiting and a bunch of other stuff this week. So thanks for tuning in again. This has been another fun-filled edition of Musings from the Mountains.